still November 1st. It's raining outside. So, which is okay, I guess, because I didn't, I had a hard time getting out of bed again. I went back to bed and, just, it just felt so safe in my bed. I'm like, oh, I don't get up. I'm gonna wallow a little more. So I didn't get up until like 11, which is progress, right? 'Cause yesterday I didn't get up until like 2. And so I got up and I listened to Lee Harris' energy update for November, so that helped. And I was listening to music mostly, really, just laying in bed, in and out of sleep, and listening to music. And just sitting with it, just really sitting with it, this situation with my ex, and yeah. So I connected with someone yesterday, and we were talking about, I was updating her about what's been going on, because I hadn't connected with her until last was when I had just moved in. And it's funny because a lot of my videos that I'm posting right now are when I'm just moving in, and like the one today is when I did the touristy stuff. And funny, I have to head out that way. Someone gave me a gift card and I'm in need of eyeliner. So it's a gift card to Sephora, and I was like, oh, I have a gift card to Sephora. Let me use it. And I mean, this is how much I didn't care for myself. Like when I would get gifts, like gift cards, I would re-gift them for other people. Because I never took care of myself in that sense. Like I didn't put myself first. I didn't accept these gifts openly and willingly. So I'm doing better at, right, when people give me gifts, like keeping them, for me and not giving them away. So anyways, a friend of mine gifted me a Sephora gift card. I hardly ever shop at Sephora. I feel like it's fancy. So I was actually trying to see if I can get it mailed out here or shipped out here, but I figured, I'm like, oh, it's on Powell Street, I should just go. And I know that like it's along the trail of the trolley, because I remember seeing it. But anyways, so at some point this week I'll probably go. Maybe, we'll see. Maybe Thursday. We'll see. Or maybe next weekend, because I'll be out there anyways. There's a gallery opening, and yeah, I might do that. I should put that on the calendar. But anyways, get back, UB. We were talking. I was updating her on what was going on, and updating her on this fire sign, right? The recent revelation, and like just my dreams and everything that's going on. And it's still sitting with that too, of just like, that realization that I was being triggered by him because he was a reflection of what I was, to a certain degree, right? To a certain degree of stringing. And I told her, I was just like, you know what it felt like he was gonna string me along. Had I not said anything, he might have just strung me along. And then just thinking about it, I'm like, I know. So what do I say? I mean, I didn't do that with my ex. I really wanted to make it work. I tried, but it's hard to try when only one person is aware. And I don't know. It unfolded exactly as it needed to. And I'm aware of the consequences of this, and I'm okay with them. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with loss. I wasn't stringing him along. I wasn't. I had an outlet that I used. And did that outlet evolve into something else? Yeah, it was headed that way, if I'm being honest. It was headed that way. And I think that's when it got a little scary. When it started heading in a direction where there was more emotional involvement. But then we triggered each other, and that ended. Appropriately so, it ended. But the ending of my marriage was not around this other person. It wasn't. It wasn't. The ending was more of this of this realization that I was able to get out of a situation that was no longer in my best interest. That's all it was. That's all it was. It's when I finally spoke up, when I realized that I didn't have to follow these rules that weren't aligned with me, right? These religious rules, for people who they're aligned with, great, good for you, continue forth. But for me, it wasn't. I don't regret any of it. But I was telling her about this fire sign. And I said, it's funny because I saw it too. When we hung out, I saw it. I saw the little boy inside. And it was weird to see it. It was one of those, I don't see it type of thing, but I saw it. And it was weird to see it, I think, with him. Mostly because there was this discord with his age and the visual appearance of him. But the little boy that I saw inside, it was just... So there was this difficulty in seeing, accepting what I saw. That's what it was. I struggled accepting what I saw because of that discrepancy. Because I told her, I saw the little boy inside. Craving admiration, craving attention, craving validation. I saw it, but I didn't want to see it, if that makes sense. And I told her, I'm grateful we only made out. That's it, nothing more, right? It didn't go beyond anything. I'm grateful for that. And I think there's still this element of shock in how it was managed and how it was handled. And she asked me if he's responded back. I said no, and I don't expect him to. And then we were talking about what would that response look like, right? If he responded back. And I'm like, oh, a freaking acknowledgement, right? Of the fact, one, that he got caught. Two, right? That, he doesn't have to, because I know, right? I saw it in my dream, and he confirmed it. And so I don't need the validation, but the acknowledgement in order to, if this goes anywhere, right? To that possible friendship that the base was there for. I don't know now, And if it does, I'm guarded. I'm totally guarded. Because I don't know if it's like, well, having to rebuild trust all over again, right? Just like with my ex, and this still looming situation where I don't know where it's gonna go, right? But I still don't know where he's at with that. Give him the space that he needs. So anyways, so that was one topic of conversation. The other topic of conversation was on this element of cancel culture, which I've never heard of. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. So she's telling me this generation that's coming up is all about this. It's a cancel culture where if they don't like what you say, they cancel you out. So there, in essence, there is no freedom of speech, if you will, because if there's, there really is no sense of freedom of speech, I guess. So we were just talking about it, and I was just like sitting with it, and I was just like, it's so interesting, it's so bizarre. But then it made sense, and I told her, okay, it makes sense. Because I'm telling her, right, the future generations they're already seeing one through a bullshit. Two, it's going to continue to evolve in a way where they can see right through us, right? We'll be able to see right through people without them having to say anything. Clearly, it's not the next generation, based on what she's telling me. Because I was telling her, I'm like, well, that makes sense, right? I mean, I grew up in a generation where, like, you don't show your emotion. At least not the negative ones, right? The negative emotions, like anger or sadness, right? I mean, I grew up being told not to cry, and to suck it up, or, if we did cry for something, that was irrelevant or whatever, they tell us, well, what are you crying for, right? Do you want a reason to cry? I'll give you a reason to cry. And I grew up in where you don't air your dirty laundry in public, right? Clearly. That's what I'm doing with this. But it's purposeful. And so I told her, I said, we're swaying sometimes. Oh, she had a hard time believing that that society would find its balance. And she made a good point. She's just like, how can we find the balance when we've never had it? So then I said to her, sometimes we need to understand and feel and experience one extreme and then the other in order to find the balance, right? Like I tell my clients all the time, well, not all the time, but lately it's been a theme. I'm looking at partnerships and relationships, connections with people. They don't know what they want. I'm like, yeah, you do. You do know what you want. Because you know what you don't want. So that sheds light into what you do want. But when we're trying to regain balance in society, I was telling her, over the years, we've had to shift, we've had to adapt, we've had to modify rules and experiences and situations within society based on what we don't like, based on what hasn't felt good, right? So we're striving for that balance. We haven't reached it yet, but we're striving with it. The more information we get about what we don't like to see, the more we'll be aligned. I said it just takes freaking long because we're humans and we don't like change, right? We're very rigid. We want to keep things the way they are and only change certain things that benefit us, right? And when you look at how many people are resistant to that process, well, it's gonna take a while. Then I said to her, so I said, so this cancel culture, right? Because she was talking about how it's all about their emotions, right? That someone hurt my feelings, so they can't say anything. So I said, it makes sense. It makes sense where we've gone from one extreme, right, of not expressing emotion to this other extreme of like too much emotion, and so you need to like cancel people out, right? These kids are now touching on their emotion, right? Like they're speaking up about their emotion. So that's one extreme of being shut off. The other extreme of being too loud of their emotions, right? And then after that, I said, so then I told them, like, it's the generation after them. They'll die out, and I'm part of that group, right? And part of this group, I'm like, they'll die out. It'll be the generation after them. It'll find the balance. And she had a hard time believing it, and I'm just like, it will happen. I mean, we're a society, right? Like, it's bound. Change is the one constant in life. We may not be here to see it, but it will happen. It will happen. It was funny. I never heard of this cancel culture because I don't watch the news. I told her, I'm like, I still don't watch the news because, you know, eventually someone's going to tell me about it, and, you know, I'll hear about it eventually, and what I need to know, I'll know. But I'm not going to preoccupy myself with that. Mostly because it's that same concept of, like, you know, where my energy goes, and just making sure I'm taking care of me, you know, healing my own wounds, and I think one of the next videos, I don't know, I have to prepare them. I decided to do it every other day instead of just 3 days a week. I don't know why. Change it up again. And what was I saying? Oh, there's a video that's coming up where I'm talking about my triggers and how I don't have to tell anybody my triggers because those are mine to own. They're wounds that I'm needing to address, right? It has nothing to do with the other person. It's all about me. So yeah. It's 2:42. I wanted to make cookies. Partly just to warm up the space because it's a little bit chilly. And I don't want to turn on the heater. And I don't really have food. I've been snacking mostly. I really want to... I'm not really hungry. But I've just been snacking. I wanted to go out for a walk, but it keeps raining. We'll see. We'll see what I entertain myself with. Still have some work that I need to do. I'll probably do that. And then read. And then rewatch a movie. And just listen to the rain. That's all. Alright. Bye. Hi. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us, in whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself or
find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, you know, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best.